don't belong here. I are not. People like you belong in the back alley. Oh, garbage, get lost from here.
This garbage man is canceling the deal of $55 million!
Excuse me, but I think you're in my seat. Amanda Pierce's eyes shot up, her expression twisted with contempt. You think? Listen, someone like you doesn't sit at tables like this. Maybe try the loading dock out back. Her husband Richard leaned back smugly in the chair. Can't you take a hint? This section is for actual investors, not whoever scraped together cab fare to crash this party. Amanda snatched the name card reading David Morgan, Apex Ventures, and flung it aside. Security, we've got an intruder here. Someone's pretending they belong with respectable people. She turned dramatically to the surrounding guests. Can you imagine? They're getting bolder. Probably spotted the valet stand outside and figured he'd try his luck scamming the wealthy crowd. The man remained completely composed in his perfectly tailored charcoal suit, his expression unreadable, his silence dignified. Phones appeared from every direction, capturing, recording, mocking. Whispers spread like wildfire through the ballroom. Nobody stepped forward to help. What they didn't realize, in exactly 1 hour, those two would be on their knees pleading for mercy. Where are you from? Tell us in the comments below. And if you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more. 3 hours before this moment, David Morgan stood in his downtown office, gazing through massive windows overlooking the Chicago River. Golden afternoon light bathed his workspace. His executive assistant Karen entered carrying a garment bag. Your evening suit, Mr. Morgan, charcoal gray, understated like you wanted. David smiled warmly. Excellent, I prefer not drawing attention. Karen lifted an eyebrow. You're contributing $3 million, standing out comes with the territory. The contribution supports young people, not my ego, David replied, checking his timepiece. What time does everything begin? 8 o'clock. Your keynote address is scheduled for 9:30. Karen hesitated briefly. The Pierces will be attending tonight, Richard and Amanda. David nodded slowly. Right, they have that Tuesday appointment scheduled. They still haven't researched you properly, Karen continued. According to their assistant's notes, they're expecting some tech entrepreneur named D. Morgan. They don't even know what you look like. David's expression remained neutral. Let's maintain that mystery. The Future Innovators Ball represented Chicago's most prestigious charitable gathering. Every year, technology leaders and established wealth converged at an exclusive downtown venue. They donated generously, networked relentlessly, and performed concern about disadvantaged youth accessing quality education. David actually meant his concern. He'd grown up on Chicago's South Side. His mother worked overnight janitorial shifts. His father operated city buses for 31 years. David taught himself programming in a cramped public library using ancient computers. A single scholarship opportunity transformed his trajectory. Now he led Apex Ventures, $360 million in managed assets, stakes in 53 emerging companies. 32 of those companies had founders who were women or minorities. The business world called him the silent giant. No magazine features, no social media presence. His track record spoke volumes. Richard Pierce represented everything opposite. Flashy, arrogant, coasting on family inheritance. Pierce Manufacturing produced industrial components. Generations of family wealth sustained them. Recently, though, the company hemorrhaged money rapidly. Their sustainable technology pivot demanded capital they couldn't access. Richard desperately needed $55 million immediately. David's investment team completed thorough research. The financial projections seemed reasonable. The technology showed promise. But something felt wrong. Former workers whispered about toxic workplace culture. Serious complaints mysteriously disappeared under expensive legal settlements. Still, David valued giving second opportunities. Tuesday's scheduled meeting would determine their future. He slipped into the charcoal suit. Simple, refined, no flashy accessories, no visible luxury timepiece. Just quality tailoring and quiet self-assurance. The 25-minute drive went smoothly. David drove himself, no driver, no security detail. The Continental Tower stretched 62 stories into Chicago's skyline. Its rooftop venue was legendary. Tonight, delicate lights wrapped elegant white columns. A jazz ensemble performed near the bar. Servers in pristine uniforms circulated with champagne. David reached valet parking. A young attendant rushed over, his welcoming expression fading instantly upon seeing David. Excuse me, are you with the catering service?" David kept his tone measured. "No, I'm a guest." The attendant looked puzzled. "Oh, right, it's just that service staff usually park around back." "I'm not staff," David explained calmly, handing over his keys. "David Morgan, my name should be listed." The attendant consulted his device. His eyes expanded dramatically. "Oh, I apologize profusely, Mr. Morgan. I didn't realize, I mean." "No problem," David interrupted, tipping him $20. "Happens constantly." Inside, the code attendant made identical assumptions. "The staff entrance is downstairs, sweetheart." David presented his invitation. The woman's complexion reddened immediately. The pattern repeated itself. Security requested his employee identification. A socialite asked whether he performed with the entertainment. An elderly gentleman assumed he was someone's personal driver. Each time David politely corrected them. Each time they stammered embarrassed apologies. By the time he entered the main venue, his jaw felt tight, though his expression stayed composed. The space took his breath away. Glass walls revealed the glittering cityscape. Enormous crystal chandeliers illuminated the ceiling. Round tables covered in pristine white linens filled the floor. Near the stage stood one specially marked table. Elegant gold script on black cardstock. Reserved for David Morgan, Apex Ventures plus guests. Premium placement, front row, 6 available seats. David arrived unaccompanied. He preferred operating that way. He surveyed the crowd. Recognizable faces everywhere, technology executives, investment leaders, several celebrities. Everyone dressed impressively. Then he noticed them. Richard Pierce stood tall, silver-haired, wearing suits that broadcast inherited wealth. He stood near the bar area, laughing excessively at his own remarks. Amanda Pierce, blonde hair and an intricate design, wore a dress probably costing more than average monthly rent. Diamonds adorned her neck and wrists. They hadn't spotted him yet. David inhaled deeply, straightened his jacket, and approached his designated table. That's when everything fell apart. David reached his table. The gold nameplate gleamed beneath the chandeliers. His identity, his company, his reserved seat. But Richard and Amanda Pierce had already claimed it. Amanda occupied the center chair, absorbed in her phone. Richard stood beside her, sipping champagne. Their designer coats covered 2 additional chairs. David stopped 3 feet away. "Excuse me, but I think you're in my seat." Amanda's head shot up. Her gaze traveled deliberately from his face downward to his shoes, then slowly back up. Her lip curled with disgust. "Your seat," she released a sharp, cutting laugh. "Listen, someone like you doesn't sit at tables like this. Maybe try the loading dock out back." Richard turned, his expression hardening. "Can't you take a hint? This section is for actual investors, real wealth, not whoever scraped together cab fare to crash this party." David maintained his measured tone. "I'm David Morgan from Apex Ventures. This table is reserved under my name." "David Morgan is our investor," Amanda snapped. "We're meeting him Tuesday. You're definitely not him." "I assure you." "Stop it," Richard interrupted, stepping forward aggressively. "Stop embarrassing yourself. We know what David Morgan looks like. Probably some Silicon Valley type wearing casual clothes. You're just some random person in an average suit trying to score free dinner." David slowly reached toward his jacket pocket. "I have my invitation." "Don't you dare!" Richard's voice escalated sharply. Several guests turned their attention. What are you grabbing? Everyone see this? He's reaching for something. A security officer noticed the disturbance and approached quickly. Amanda grabbed the reserved nameplate dramatically. This says D. Morgan, not whatever your name is. She tossed it carelessly toward an empty table. The card fluttered to the floor. Ma'am, that's actually, David started. Security, Amanda's voice pierced across the terrace. We have an intruder here. Someone's pretending they belong with respectable people. The guard arrived, middle-aged, uncertain expression. What's happening? This person, Amanda pointed at David like he was contaminated, is harassing us, claims he's our investor. It's pathetic. Richard nodded emphatically. We politely explained these seats are occupied. He refuses to leave. Now he's reaching into his jacket. Who knows what he's concealing? The guard studied David carefully. Do you have an invitation, sir? Yes, David retrieved the embossed card. I'm David Morgan, Apex Ventures. This table is reserved for me. The guard examined the invitation, his forehead creasing. This appears legitimate. Obviously it appears legitimate, Amanda said loudly. That's what makes it convincing. Anyone can print anything nowadays. She addressed the expanding crowd of observers. Can you imagine? They're getting bolder. Probably spotted the valet stand outside and figured he'd try his luck scamming the wealthy crowd. Whispers rippled through surrounding tables. Phones materialized everywhere. A woman wearing red began recording video. Richard pointed at the guard. Do your job properly. Remove this person, or should we contact actual police? David remained calm, hands visible at his sides. I'm simply trying to explain. Explain what? Amanda stood abruptly. That you crashed a charity function, that you're impersonating a legitimate guest. That's probably criminal. A young woman carrying a clipboard rushed over, the event coordinator. She appeared flustered. I'm terribly sorry. What's going on? This individual, Richard gestured at David, is creating a disturbance, claims he's David Morgan. The coordinator checked her tablet quickly. Her complexion went pale. Actually nothing, Victoria interrupted sharply. We had a video meeting scheduled with David Morgan last week. He didn't attend, typical behavior, but we know who we're meeting Tuesday. It's not him. The coordinator looked between David and the Pierces. But I have Mr. Morgan's photograph in our VIP database. Your database is obviously incorrect, Richard stated firmly. We're the Pierces, Pierce Manufacturing. We support this cause annually. Are you seriously taking his word over ours? The coordinator bit her lip anxiously. She looked at David. Perhaps we could step aside briefly and verify. Absolutely not, Amanda's voice turned icy. No more accommodations, no more political correctness. These functions bend over backward for diversity, letting anyone in for publicity. Well, I'm not participating. She turned toward the watching crowd, projecting her voice across the terrace. This represents exactly what's wrong with these charity events. Standards don't matter anymore. Heritage doesn't matter. They're so desperate appearing inclusive that they allow people like this walking straight in. A man at a nearby table cleared his throat uncomfortably. Amanda, perhaps. No, Charles, she cut him off sharply. This matters. We built this nation, our families, our contributions. Now we're supposed to just surrender everything. Just smile, pretending everyone belongs everywhere. Richard nodded agreement. She's correct. There's a natural hierarchy. Some people earn their place at tables like this. Others don't. Simple truth. David's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed quiet. I understand you're upset, but if you just examine the seating chart. Upset, Amanda laughed harshly. I'm not upset, I'm protecting standards, someone must. She looked at the security guard. Final opportunity. Remove him or I'm calling emergency services reporting a threatening individual. Threatening? David's eyes widened slightly. I haven't threatened anyone. You reached into your jacket, Richard stated. That's threatening behavior, and you refuse leaving when asked. That's trespassing. The guard looked uncomfortable. Sir, perhaps it's best if you accompany me. We can resolve this in the office. David met the guard's eyes, seeing the apology there. The man was simply attempting his job. It's all right, David said softly. I'll step aside temporarily. Finally, Amanda said, settling back into David's chair. She smoothed her dress, lifted a champagne glass from the table like she'd won something. Richard occupied the adjacent seat. You must be firm with these people, otherwise they take advantage constantly. As David walked toward the side terrace with the coordinator, he heard Amanda's voice carrying. Finally, some peace. You must stand your ground. That's what's wrong with this generation. No backbone whatsoever. Richard ordered another champagne, raising his glass toward nearby tables. Some people looked away. Others offered weak, uncomfortable smiles. A woman in her 60s leaned toward her husband. Did you witness that? Her husband whispered back, Don't get involved, Margaret. At another table, a younger man grabbed his phone, typing rapidly. His screen displayed Twitter. The tweet posted immediately. Watching a black man ejected from charity gala for not belonging. This is 2025. Pierce racism. The video clip from the woman in red had already been shared 43 times. David stood near the bar area. The event director arrived breathless, short gray hair, glasses. Mr. Morgan, I am profoundly sorry. David raised his hand. This isn't your fault, Ellen. But they're occupying your table. Your contribution made this entire evening possible. I understand, David's voice stayed quiet and steady. But don't create a scene, not yet. Ellen looked confused. Not yet. Trust me, David glanced back at the Pierces. They were laughing, toasting, victorious. Let them enjoy their moment. Ellen followed his gaze. Understanding slowly dawned across her expression. Oh my. What time is my keynote address? David asked. 9:30, 22 minutes. David smiled, small, controlled. Perfect timing, let's proceed exactly as planned. Ellen nodded, though her hands trembled as she walked away. David stood alone near the bar. Other guests glanced at him, then quickly averted their eyes, uncomfortable, complicit. He took a slow breath, thinking about his mother. How many times had she experienced this treatment? How many spaces had told her she didn't belong? The difference was she'd never possessed the power to respond effectively. David did. And in 22 minutes, everyone in this venue would understand that completely. Amanda settled deeper into David's chair, crossing her legs. Her stiletto heel bobbed with satisfaction. Well, that was exhausting, she said to the woman at the adjacent table. But necessary, you must protect standards, otherwise who knows what kind of people appear next. The woman offered a tight smile, suddenly finding her champagne fascinating. Richard scrolled through his phone. Still nothing from Morgan's office. These Silicon Valley types think they're so important, making you wait constantly, making you beg. When we finally meet him Tuesday, Amanda said, you need to be firm, don't let him lowball our offer. We're Pierces, we don't grovel for money. Richard nodded. 55 million is our minimum. If he can't provide that, we walk away. A server approached, young, nervous. Excuse me, Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, the event director requests a word. Amanda waved him off dismissively like swatting an insect. Not now, we're networking. The server retreated quickly. Richard raised his glass toward a man 3 tables over. Henderson, did you see that? We just secured the best seats available. Henderson looked uncomfortable, lifting his glass weakly before turning back to his wife and whispering something. They both glanced toward the bar where David stood. Amanda didn't notice, absorbed in her phone. Her eyes widened suddenly. Richard, look at this. Richard frowned. What now? My Instagram. Why do I have 81 notifications? Richard shrugged. Everyone probably wants to know about the party. No, this isn't. Richard, we're on Twitter. So, we're always on social media. Not like this. Her voice dropped. She showed him the screen. Richard leaned closer. His expression changed dramatically. What the hell? The top tweet had been retweeted 450 times in 12 minutes. It showed a photo of them at the table. The caption read, Wealthy white couple ejects black man from charity gala, says he doesn't belong with respectable people. This is disgusting. Pierce racism charity gala. Below it, a video clip, 15 seconds. Amanda's voice crystal clear. Someone like you doesn't sit at tables like this. Maybe try the loading dock out back. The view count climbed while they watched. 8,000, 11,000, 14,000. Richard's jaw clenched. Who recorded that? Does it matter? Amanda's hands shook. Richard, the comments. She scrolled, her complexion paling with each line. Absolutely disgusting behavior. This is what racism looks like in expensive jewelry. The audacity of these people, hope they lose everything. Amanda looked around the terrace. She noticed for the first time how many phones pointed in their direction, how many people whispered behind raised hands. This is bad, she whispered. It's fine, Richard's voice sounded tight. It'll blow over, these things always do. But his hand gripped his champagne glass too hard, knuckles white. At the bar, David checked his own phone. His CFO, Karen, had texted. Watching the live stream, Twitter is exploding. Do you want me to withdraw the donation? David typed back, no, the donation stays. It's for the students, not me. Karen responded immediately. What about the Pierce meeting Tuesday? David paused, fingers hovering over the screen. Then he typed, pull their complete due diligence files, everything. HR complaints, lawsuits, everything. Send to my email within 1 hour. Already on it, Karen replied. David, you could destroy them. I don't want destruction, David typed. I want truth. He pocketed his phone, looking across the terrace at the Pierces. They huddled together now, phones out, scrolling frantically. The jazz ensemble finished a song. Polite applause rippled across the crowd. The event coordinator took the stage, tapping the microphone. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight. The crowd quieted. We'll begin our program shortly, she continued, her voice wavering slightly. Before we start, I want to remind everyone why we're here. This gala supports technology education for underserved youth. Every dollar raised tonight changes a child's life. She paused, glancing toward David, then toward the Pierces. Tonight's program celebrates breaking barriers, creating opportunities, and judging people not by assumptions, but by character and contribution. A few people in the crowd shifted uncomfortably, more glances toward the Pierces' table. Amanda felt the stares. Why is everyone looking at us? Richard's phone buzzed repeatedly. It's my brother and my mother. Why is the board chairman calling me? He stood abruptly. I need to take this. He walked to the edge of the terrace, pressing the phone to his ear. Hello? Yes, I saw it. It's being taken out of context. His face darkened. What do you mean shareholders are asking questions? It's a 30-second clip. He listened, his shoulders sagging. I understand. Yes, I'll call you tomorrow. He hung up, staring at his phone. Then he saw the emails, 6 new messages, all marked urgent. One from the company's lead attorney. We need to talk immediately. One from their largest client. Saw the video, we're reviewing our partnership. One from a board member. Emergency meeting Tuesday morning before your investor pitch. Richard walked back to the table, his complexion gray. Amanda, we need to leave. What, why? Just trust me, we need to go now. Amanda looked around. Every nearby table had gone silent. People weren't even pretending not to stare anymore. No, Amanda lifted her chin. No, we're not running. We didn't do anything wrong. Amanda. That person was clearly lying, obviously trying to scam people. We protected everyone here. They should be thanking us. A woman at the next table stood abruptly, grabbing her purse. Excuse me, she muttered, moving to a different table across the room. Amanda watched her leave. What's her problem? Richard sat back down heavily. This is bad. This is really bad. Stop saying that. Amanda's voice was sharp, but her hands trembled as she checked her phone again. Her sister texted, OMG, Amanda, what did you do? Her mother, call me immediately. Her best friend, I can't believe you said that. I can't be associated with this. Please don't contact me. Her country club's social director. The board has asked me to reach out regarding your membership. Amanda's breathing accelerated. No, 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 Richard, what did we do? We didn't do anything, Richard said, but his voice lacked conviction. We made a mistake, that's all. A mistake, Amanda's voice rose. They're calling us racists, Richard, racists. Lower your voice. Don't tell me to lower my voice. You're the one who said. I said what needed to be said, Richard's jaw set. That person didn't belong there. But what if? Amanda stopped, her eyes widening. Richard, what if he was telling the truth? What if he really is David Morgan? Richard laughed harshly, bitterly. Impossible. But what if we're wrong? I researched. He stopped, his face going slack. I researched the company, not the person. They stared at each other. Amanda grabbed her phone, typing frantically into Google. David Morgan Apex Ventures. The first result was a Forbes article. The silent giant, David Morgan's 360 million empire. Below it a photograph, the same man, charcoal suit, calm eyes, standing in front of floor-to-ceiling windows. Amanda's phone slipped from her hand, clattering on the table. Richard grabbed it, looking at the screen. All color drained from his face. No, he whispered. Amanda, no, this can't. The coordinator's voice came through the speakers again. And now, I have the profound honor of introducing our evening's keynote sponsor. Amanda's head snapped toward the stage. A man whose generosity has transformed thousands of lives, the coordinator continued. A visionary whose work speaks louder than words. Richard tried to stand. His legs wouldn't cooperate. A man who just minutes ago was told he didn't belong here. The entire room went silent. Every head turned toward the Pierce's table. Amanda felt hundreds of eyes on her. She couldn't breathe. Please welcome the founder and CEO of Apex Ventures, our lead sponsor, who has donated $3 million to this cause. The coordinator paused. The silence stretched endlessly. Mr. David Morgan. The spotlight swung across the room, landing on David, still standing near the bar. The room erupted in applause. Some people stood immediately, others sat frozen in shock. David walked calmly toward the stage, his steps measured, confident, dignified. He passed directly by the Pierce's table. Amanda's champagne glass was frozen halfway to her lips. Her mouth hung open. Richard had both hands on the table like he might collapse without support. David didn't look at them. He simply walked past, climbed the stage steps, took the microphone. The applause continued, louder building. And the Pierces sat in his stolen chair, watching their entire world collapse in real time. David stood center stage. The spotlight warmed his face. The applause slowly faded. The room held its breath. He smiled, gentle, calm, like nothing had happened. Thank you, Ellen, and thank you all for being here tonight. His voice was steady, clear, carrying effortlessly across the silent terrace. I want to address what happened earlier. He paused, letting the words settle. Because it matters, because it's exactly why this cause exists. Every eye in the room was fixed on him. Phones recorded from every angle. About 25 minutes ago, I approached my reserved table. David gestured toward where the Pierces sat frozen. That table right there. Heads turned, the Pierces shrank in their seats. I was told I didn't belong, not because I lacked an invitation, not because I hadn't donated, but because of how I look. The silence deepened, uncomfortable, heavy. I was told to find my people in the kitchen, that people like me belong in loading docks, that I was probably here to scam wealthy people with a fake invitation. Amanda's face was ghost white, tears welled in her eyes but didn't fall. Richard stared at his hands, his jaw clenched so tight it looked painful. The couple who said those things, David continued, his voice never rising, never hardening, is sitting at my table right now, in my seat. The entire room turned to look. Some people gasped, others shook their heads. And here's the interesting part. David's smile was slight, knowing. That couple has a meeting with me on Tuesday morning about a $55 million investment in their company. Audible shock rippled through the crowd. Whispers erupted. Amanda made a small sound, like a wounded animal. David let the moment breathe. He waited until the room quieted again. He said softly, they had a meeting past tense. The words landed like a hammer. Because I don't invest in people who see other human beings as less than human. I don't build partnerships with people who use their privilege as a weapon. I don't do business with racists. The applause started small, one person, then 5, then 50, then the entire room stood. Thunderous, sustained. David waited, his hands clasped in front of him, patient. When the applause finally ebbed, he continued. Some of you are wondering if I'm being too harsh, if maybe it was just a misunderstanding. He shook his head. It wasn't. You all heard what was said. Many of you recorded it. Those words weren't accidental. They revealed a worldview. He looked directly at the Pierces. Now Amanda was crying openly. Richard's face was buried in his hands. I'm not angry, David said, and his voice made it true. I'm disappointed. Because in 2025, in spaces dedicated to progress and opportunity, this still happens every single day. He turned back to the broader audience. But tonight isn't about them. It's not about me either. It's about 10,500 students who will receive technology scholarships because of your generosity. It's about breaking real barriers, not perpetuating old ones. More applause, gentler this time, respectful. So please, David gestured to the Pierce's table. Don't let this moment distract from the real work. Let it teach us. Let it remind us to see people, not assumptions, not stereotypes, people. He set the microphone back in the stand. He nodded to Ellen. Then he walked down the stage steps. The coordinator rushed to the Pierce's table. Her face was stern but professional. Mr. and Mrs. Pierce, she said quietly, but not quietly enough. You need to leave immediately. Amanda looked up, mascara streaking her cheeks. Please, we didn't know, we didn't. Now, Ellen said, security will escort you. 2 guards appeared, the same middle-aged man from earlier, plus a younger colleague. Richard stood on shaking legs. We need to apologize. You need to leave, the coordinator repeated. You're no longer welcome here. The walk to the exit was endless. Every table they passed fell silent. Guests pulled back like they might be contaminated. A man in his 70s, someone Richard had known for 22 years, turned his entire chair away. Amanda's sobs echoed across the marble floor. Richard kept his eyes straight ahead, his face stone, but his hands trembled at his sides. When they reached the elevator, Amanda turned back. The entire terrace was visible from there. Hundreds of people all watching them leave. David stood near the stage, talking quietly with Ellen. He glanced their way once. His expression wasn't triumphant. It wasn't angry. It was sad. The elevator doors closed. Amanda collapsed against the wall. What have we done? Oh God, Richard, what have we done? Richard said nothing. He stared at his reflection in the polished doors. He didn't recognize the man looking back. The elevator descended 62 floors. Each floor felt like a year. When the doors opened to the lobby, camera flashes exploded. News crews, reporters, they'd already arrived. Mr. Pierce, do you have a comment on the video? Mrs. Pierce, do you regret your words? Is it true you lost a $55 million investment? Richard pushed through the crowd, his hand gripping Amanda's arm too tightly. She stumbled in her heels. They burst through the front doors into the cool night air. The valet brought their car, a Tesla, pristine white. Richard didn't tip, he just grabbed the keys and drove. Amanda cried the entire way home. Richard said nothing. His phone buzzed continuously, emails, texts, calls, all marked urgent. He didn't look at any of them, because he already knew. In 30 seconds of assumptions and cruelty, they'd lost everything. And the man they'd insulted had barely raised his voice. Where are you from? Tell us in the comments below. And if you're loving this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more. The Pierces' car screeched into their driveway at 10:53. Their Westchester mansion loomed dark and empty. Usually it felt like a fortress. Tonight it felt like a prison. Amanda stumbled inside, kicked off her heels. They clattered across marble floors. She collapsed on the couch in the sitting room. Richard went straight to his study, pouring scotch with shaking hands. 3 fingers, he downed it, poured another. His phone had 98 unread messages. He opened the first email from the company's head of legal. Richard, we need to discuss the video immediately. Shareholders are calling for emergency action. Several clients have expressed concerns. Call me tonight, regardless of the hour. The second email from their largest manufacturing client. We've reviewed the footage from tonight's event. Effective immediately, we're suspending our contract pending further review. We cannot be associated with this kind of behavior. That contract was worth $8.5 million annually. Richard's hand tightened around his glass. Third email from a board member. I've known your family for 31 years. I'm ashamed. Emergency board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, 7 a.m. Your attendance is mandatory. Come prepared to explain yourself. Fourth email from their bank. In light of recent public events, we need to schedule a meeting to discuss your outstanding loan covenants and credit facilities. Richard stopped reading, his vision blurred. In the sitting room, Amanda's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She finally looked. Her mother, Amanda Ann Pierce, call me this instant. How could you embarrass this family? Her sister, Mom, is having chest pains. The doctor says it's stress. This is your fault. Her best friend, Melissa, don't contact me again. I can't be seen with you. I have a reputation to protect. The country club, the membership committee has convened an emergency session. Your presence is requested Thursday at 11 a.m. to address your continued membership status. Her charity board positions, 3 emails, all variations of the same message. We're asking for your resignation, effective immediately. Amanda's hands shook so badly she dropped the phone. It bounced off the couch onto the floor. She walked to Richard's study. He sat behind his mahogany desk, his head in his hands, an empty Scotch glass beside him. Richard, her voice was small, broken. What are we going to do? He didn't look up. I don't know. Can't we apologize? Explain it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. His laugh was bitter. Amanda, there are 13 different videos from 13 different angles. High definition, perfect sound. You told a man he belongs in a loading dock. I called him stupid. I didn't mean it. It doesn't matter what you meant. He finally looked at her, his eyes red. Don't you understand? It doesn't matter. The words came out of your mouth in front of hundreds of people, and it's everywhere now. Amanda sank into the chair across from him. Can we sue for defamation or something? Sue who for what? Posting our own words. Silence stretched between them. Richard's phone rang. He looked at the screen. It's Morgan's office. Amanda sat up straight. Answer it, maybe we can fix this. Richard answered, put it on speaker. Hello. A woman's voice, cold, professional. Mr. Pierce, this is Karen Chen, CFO of Apex Ventures. Ms. Chen, thank you for calling. We need to speak with Mr. Morgan to explain. Mr. Morgan has no interest in speaking with you. Please, just 5 minutes. It was a terrible mistake, a misunderstanding. It was racism, Mr. Pierce. Karen's voice was ice. Documented, recorded, deliberate racism, and frankly, our due diligence has uncovered a pattern. Richard's face went pale. What pattern? 7 former employees, all people of color, all with similar stories of discrimination and hostile treatment. Stories that were buried with NDAs and settlements. We found them. Amanda made a small whimpering sound. Your meeting Tuesday is canceled, Karen continued. All discussions with Apex Ventures are terminated. We will not be investing in Pierce Manufacturing now or ever. Mr. Morgan wanted me to tell you personally. Ms. Chen, please. One more thing. Mr. Morgan asked me to let you know he's forwarding our findings to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They'll be conducting their own investigation. The line went dead. Richard stared at the phone, his hand still holding it out like,